Hello, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me. I know there's not going to be many of you because I haven't publicized it well. Reason being that it's been so long since I've been back and been live and in the schedule, and I'm like, oh my God, is everything going to work? And it's going to be a complete disaster. So I thought I would just, keep it a little bit of a secret. But great to see that some of you have joined. Make sure you say hi in the comments. If you're new, type new because I want to get to meet you as well. I'm going to be doing some labeling today. So as you know, unless you're living under a rock, I have recently moved into my brand new apartment. I'm still getting camera angles sorted. I'm still getting myself a little bit settled. But I'm labeling everything at the moment, and I'm going to show you give you some really great tips and tricks in terms of how you can save on materials, how you can make it easier to weed, how to size things so that everything actually looks consistent. So if that's what you're looking for today, you're in the right place. If you don't know who I am, my name's Paul, Scissors Paper Paul on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. And I'm here to share my Cricut knowledge and expertise with you so that you can master these incredible machines and products. And ultimately, I want you to make beautiful things. As always, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's almost 5,000 of you, which is mind-blowing. But make sure you subscribe, and that way you won't miss out on my content each and every week. So let's jump into the comments and see who's here, and then we'll get started. It's going to be nice and quick today, I think. Let's have a look. Lots of regulars. Yay! Yes, thank you. It's really good to be back. Yeah, it's been a while. I've just been trying to get myself really organized. The craft space is actually the last room that I'm just, getting completely up to date. But what I'm trying not to do is just put stuff away just so I don't have to look at it. I'm trying to go, okay, where do you need to go? What's going to make the most sense? And, this is my forever home. And I just want to make sure everything's in the perfect spot. So, hey, Suzette. Hey, Linda. Saw you there. Kay's here, yay, lots of regulars. Hey, Nat's Crafty Life, make sure you're following Nat as well on Instagram and Facebook. She's amazing, and if you don't know who she is, you got to check her out because you'll learn heaps of really, really cool things. So good to see you here. As I say, it's going to be nice and quick, and Deirdre's here as well. Awesome. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to jump into the overhead. So what I have done is I've got two of these sets that I'm going to be doing, but effectively I've done a shampoo and conditioner bottles for my shower, and today I'm going to do the shampoo bottle for my son's shower. These bottles, they're 500 mils, they're glass, and they're actually from Target, and they're like $5. If you can't find them in store, you could potentially do what I did, order them online and just do click and collect, but they're really, really cute. I love the colour, and again, they are glass, but being glass in the shower, just make sure they're nice and safe. So pop those to the side. What I'm also going to touch on today as well, I'm not going to do this as part of the live, but I'm just going to show you how also I've designed labels for my spice jars or containers. These ones, they're quite small, but they're great because you can get a teaspoon inside, so lots of room, easy to get what you need out. But I've got 24 of them, so as you can imagine, the labels, coriander, onion salt, you name it, all those different sizes. What I want to make sure is that every single label on every jar is consistent, and I'm going to show you a really, really easy way to do that today as well. Oh, Nat's shared in the group. Thank you. Thank you so much. No pressure. Thanks, Nat. So I'm going to show you an easy way to do that as well. In terms of materials, look, I am using my Explore Air 3 today, but you can use any machine. So any of these tips and tricks I'm going to show you today, you can apply across all of the different cutting machines. But in particular, I wanted to show you how to use the smart materials where you can really save on your materials, and there's basically zero wastage. So again, that's going to be one of the tips, but again, you can apply it to any vinyl, not just the smart. We've got some transfer tape here, which I've already used. So just reuse your transfer tape. Measuring tape, very important to make sure we get the sizing right. I've got my scraper tool, a weeding tool, my skizzers, which I probably actually won't need, and some rubbing alcohol. I always forget this. Whenever you are applying vinyl, always clean your surface first with rubbing alcohol, and I get these little cotton pads which I actually use when I clean my face. They're about $2.99 for 100. I get them on Amazon. They come actually automatically once a month. So these are our materials. All right, so before we jump into Design Space, just saying hello to a few people. Hey Janine, welcome, so good to see you. Kay saying that she's got those jars and she's made 2 up with cleaning essentials, oils, brilliant, love it. I'm just going crazy and I'm just trying to label everything. Thank you, Kerry, it is good to be back. All right, let's jump into Design Space. As I say, I'm a little bit cut off here, but I'm getting all the angles sorted out. And I'm just going to create a new project. And the first thing that I'm going to do, and I'm just going to show you how I created both of these. So I'm going to type in shampoo. Okay. And then we'll just move this so we can see it. I'll make it nice and big on the screen. And then I'm going to go and select my font. Now, if you didn't know, there's a video on my channel about kerned fonts. So the default, if you can see on the top right, is they're going to show me the kerned fonts. If you're not finding the font that you want, uncheck that box and you'll see everything. But this is going to work for me. And now I'm just going to try and remember what it was called. And it was... I'm trying to find my font now. This one here. So it is called, I can't remember what it's called now and I can't quite see that. Let me just have a wee look-see. Oh, no, actually it's not that one, that's called Babette. It's actually a different one. Let me have a look here. Actually, sorry, let me go back to my projects, and with the new setup the computer's a little bit further away than it used to be, so it makes it a little bit hard for me to see. And then I'll have a look here. Bayamo, that's the one I want. Alright, so let's get out of that. And it's really just a really cute font which I think works well with these types of projects. And again we'll add some text. Shampoo. Again, we'll make it just a bit bigger so we can see. And what did I say? So it was a Cricut font and it was Bayamo. Yeah, there it is. So we'll choose that. And with the kerning function, it's brought it all nice together and looking nice and pretty. So that's perfect. And then what I also did was I just copy and pasted this. And then I'm going to type in conditioner, even though I'm not going to cut that one today. But just so you can see how I went about sizing these. And I'm going to show you another example as well, because of course, when you've got a lot more to look at, and particularly for my spice jars, I'm going to have heaps that I need to cut, and I want to get them all looking uniformed and perfect. So I'm going to show you exactly what I did here, and I'll jump over to the main camera. Actually, I'll do the overhead. And grab my bottle. So of course the first thing I want to do is measure how wide that I can possibly make this. So I wanted to measure the maximum size, and these do have a little bit of a curve here and then a curve down this side. So when I measured it, I was comfortable with about 4 inches, which works out about 10 centimeters. So that is as long or as wide as I want these labels to be. But and again, let's jump into Design Space. For example, if I change this width here to 4 inches, okay, that's what that one's going to look like. And if I change this one to 4 inches, that's what that one's going to look like. But look at them together, and I'll make them bigger just so you can sort of see. See, they're not the same size. Okay, they're the same width or length, but they're not the same height, and they're not going to look potentially very good together. And again, you can imagine if you've got coriander and onion salt and all of these different labels, you don't want them all, you know, some thicker and longer and wider and taller than the others. We want them all to be the same. So I'm just going to undo that. So I'm just going Command Z or Control Z. We'll resize them. We'll go undo. Okay, and this is what I do, is I select all, I come up to the top to the alignment, and I'm going to align left. Okay, then I'm also going to align top, and now they're both together. And because I've got them both selected, I can then come up to the width, and I know I don't want it to be longer or wider than 4 inches. Now I've done that, and they are, so this one here is actually only 3.1 inches. So it's obviously a lot shorter because we want to make sure that that height is consistent so that when we have the two together, they actually look like a set that actually belongs together. So hopefully that makes sense. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments. What I'm also going to do though is I'm actually going to do a weeding box. Now, hopefully you can see this. I'll just hold it up a little bit closer. Okay, I'll just make sure I can see what you're seeing. So I'm actually going to do a weeding box, and what this means is that I don't have to waste any vinyl. Now, weeding boxes are great for when you're weeding anything. Again, it doesn't have to be smart vinyl, but what it means is I can keep reusing this piece of smart vinyl, and even though it uses about 1/6 of an inch in terms of grabbing it in the rollers and taking it into the machine, it means that I can keep cutting on the same piece without cutting it down and then losing that 0.6, 0.7 of an inch each and every time I use smart vinyl. So this is how we do that. Again, go back into design space. Okay, now the one I'm going to cut now is shampoo because I've done the other ones. I'm just going to get rid of that, and I'm going to add a shape, which is a square. I'm going to unlock the dimensions, and I'm also going to come up to operation, and I'm going to change this to draw. So this is the KK method, who I've borrowed this from, but just this, what you can do is you can actually see through it. And then I can just position this exactly where I want, whatever size, making sure that it's going to cover what I'm ultimately going to be cutting out. And then I can go back into operation, change it to cut. I'm going to right click it. I'm going to center back. I'm going to drag over both of them, select all or Command A or Control A, and I'm going to go down to the bottom right and I'm going to click attach. And that means now that it's going to cut all as one piece and all together. All right, so now I'm just going to fire up my machine. Turn that on, and I'll just jump into the comments and see if I've missed anything. Janine saying, that's how you do it. Yes, it's so simple, right? It's super easy. Cassandra saying, neat trick. I'm glad you got it. And again, this doesn't have to be the smart vinyl. Weeding boxes, they're the best when you've got lots of cuts because then you don't have to weed a really large piece all together. Janine, I'm glad you made it as well. Brilliant. All right, so let's get back into design space and we'll click make it up the top right here. And I've already selected that I'm using my Explore 3, and I'm going to do it without a mat. Okay, so I'm going to click done. Now, if you remember, with my weeding boxes, I already used 2 on the left and in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my shampoo all the way across to the right, and that way I can cut on this piece that I haven't already used. So I'm going to click continue. And it's connected to my machine, and because I've selected without a mat, it's only allowing me to use or select smart materials. So I'm going to choose smart vinyl permanent. Of course I am, or not of course, but I'm using permanent vinyl because I don't want this to come off. Obviously it's going to be under in the shower, it's going to get wet, I'll be cleaning it, so definitely want to use permanent vinyl in this instance. I'm going to put it through the guides on my machine. Again, you can use a mat of course, and I'm just gently holding it up against the rollers, and then I'll choose the load button, and it goes. It'll just set itself up ready to cut, and then I'll click the new play button, which is our go button now. So off it goes. All right, Jackie, thank you. Good to be back. Linda's saying, I did all of Mum's spice jars in the font DJ Flirt. DJ fonts, if you haven't seen those, have a search in Design Space. They're so fun, and they're really good for kids projects as well, but I love them as well. Yes, nightmare to weed, Linda. Now, I finished cutting. When I cut my other ones this morning, I went out to grab something, came back, and I'm like, oh my God, it didn't cut. Because I'd only gone out for a few seconds, and it's just so fast. So I'm going to eject that. Okay. And now we've got our new cut over here. and I'm going to start weeding. So let's jump over to the overhead. Okay, now it'll be hard for you to see, but I'm just looking for my weeding box. Here it is here. Okay, I'm just going to weed those nice and slowly. And there we go. And that's one piece. I don't have to go and try and do it all, higgledy-piggledy and really challenge myself in terms of trying to weed all of those, all three at once. And there we go. I've weeded shampoo. Again, I know it's hard for you to see, but obviously it'll become a little bit clearer once we take it off the mat. Now again, with the smart vinyl, so we've done our weeding box. Again, we don't want to waste. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my transfer tape and apply it right here, right now. Okay, so I'm actually going to weed it off the main piece of vinyl. So I'm just going to grab the edge of my transfer tape. And again, you can do this, doesn't have to be to burnish. And I'm going to burnish really well because I want that to really stick to that transfer tape. And now I'll flip it over and I shall weed just like you would normally. If parts of it don't want to come up, you can just go back, press it down. I'm terrible when it comes to this part of it, but just making sure everything sticks. Oops. Take your time. And it will come off. So I've actually done a lot of work with the smart vinyls as well to make them easier to weed. And here we go. Here we go. And I can put my smart materials away and I can reuse, oh, it's just fallen on the floor, and I can reuse that. And then I've just weeded my piece off, directly off the vinyl. All right, so now we're going to take our handy dandy tea towel, or this is my Cricut Maker cover, just to hold the bottles. Now these have a seam down either side, so I'm just going to try and center that round the middle. So just put something there to hold onto, and I'm going to get my rubbing alcohol. Let me know in the comments as well what you're up to this weekend. Are you crafting? I'm going to try and get my craft room 100% up to date, so I can actually, one side which I'm looking at is for me to actually craft on, and then now I can leave all of this space all that's going to dry super quick. You can actually even just see it disappear as it evaporates and as it dries. So now my surface is nice and clean, and what I'm going to do is just take my transfer and pop down my vinyl like that, and then just from the middle give it a bit of a rub, and then start rubbing out to the edges, and then we're done. And then we can just make sure that that is adhered. Whenever you apply vinyl to anything, give it at least 24-48 hours to cure before you use it. So just sit it out and let it really adhere to the surface. And that just makes sure you're going to get that perfect adhesion and perfect application every time. And once we've done that, we can remove our transfer tape. I remove it straight back on itself. And boom, shakalak, done. So now we've got shampoo bottles for my son's bathroom and shampoo and conditioner for my bathroom. And I think they look really cute. And there's, as I say, they're 500 mils, and which I think is a really good size as well. And yeah, really easy. So I'm going to jump into the comments, and then I'm going to just show you again just that tip about resizing to make sure you get the perfect size every time for multiple images. And again, think about if you were doing a birthday party and you were doing water bottles with everyone's names on it. You don't want some names to be really thick and big and some to be really small. You want them to all look like they belong to the same family, let's say. So I'm going to pop this to the side, jump back into the comments. Nat saying that she has heaps to make and no motivation, she needs help. All right, Nat, we can help each other. Maybe we'll zoom into each other later. Deirdre, oh, of course, yeah, look, Sydney, I'm really feeling for you guys. And Brisbane as well. I know you're in a snap lockdown. Of course, Melbourne, we've just come out of it. But honestly, deep, sincerest thoughts, prayers, love, all of that stuff, because I'm from Melbourne and I know what it's like. It's tough. It's really, really tough. In Sydney, you're doing it really hard because you've got a nice, you've got a long one ahead of you. Janine's got heaps to do and needs motivation as well. All right, let's motivate each other, guys. Come on. Lots of people needing motivation. Yep, Pezza needs it as well. Melissa's saying that she finally got the craft stuff out of storage, decided I can't live without craft while living with mum for a while. Yeah, look, you've just got to, it's your sanity. It's my sanity. Janine's saying that she lost her motivation last night after doing a panther iron-on for my son. So many fiddly bits that I couldn't get off. Oh gosh, I mean, the only thing I would say to that is I don't like doing anything really detailed unless it's iron-on. I find it so much easier to weed than vinyl. But let me jump into Design Space because I do just want to show you again with labels. So I'm just going to say finish to that because we've done that. I'm going to do a new project. And I'm just going to do something really basic just to show you. So let's do some I mentioned before. Onion, salt. And we'll just copy and paste these. We'll do a few. Let's do a long one. Coriander. I think that's correct. Let me know if I'm wrong. Some basic ones, some really standard ones here. This is not the font that I'm using for my ones, but I just wanted to show you. What else? Whole cloves. And one more. Let's just do pepper. We'll do black pepper. Okay. Now the first thing that I want to do is I just want to make sure that these are really nicely aligned. So I'm just going to select each one, go up to the align tool. That's not the align tool. Where is the align tool? What am I looking for? Here. So weird when I can't see. Oh, sorry. Yep, alignment. I just want to center everything. Align, center, left, black pepper, center. Okay. So you can imagine if I try to resize, let's have a look at this example. So I'm just going to move these ones out the way. But let's say I wanted, coriander and onion salt, and I wanted that to be the same width. I mean, that is going to look so silly on my application when they're all together. So I want to make sure that all of these are absolutely the same size, regardless of the actual space that I want to apply it to. So I'm just going to resize that again now. Now, another really good way to do this as well with my containers, I know there's about 2.5 inches this way because I'm actually going to do them. I actually am going to have them going sort of vertically. And so I know it's 2.5 inches this way, and I've got about 1.5 inches that way before it starts to curve. So my maximum space, I'm just going to create a little template. So again, using a shape, we'll take a square, and I'm going to unlock the dimensions, and I'm going to come up here to the width, and I'm going to say, well, I'll make it so it's actually how they're going to, I'll do, so 2.5 by 1.5. Okay, so that's now my little template that I can use to make sure that ultimately none of these labels are going to be bigger than that. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to select, move these all over here, is I'm going to select all of them and then come up to my align left, align top, and then they're all bunched together. And now I can make sure that these ultimately as a bunch are going to fit within this window. Now I can do that manually by just dragging it like this, okay? Or I can just resize using the width and height measurements up in the top ribbon there. But let's just say I'm happy with that. I can get rid of this now. And then I know that all of these, regardless of their ultimate width, are all going to have that perfect size. They'll be cohesive and they're going to look like they all belong together. So I hope that made sense. Did that make sense? Again, if it didn't, pop it in the comments and let me know, and I'll be happy to try and explain myself a little bit better. But look, ultimately, thank you so much for joining me. I know that it's really, really quick today, and yeah, really appreciate you guys jumping in. Thanks for the feedback, Kelly. Melissa, hopefully you're saying absolutely that made sense to you. What else have we got here? We've got Janine. Yeah, we mentioned that before. I'd love to see that Panther as well. Share it on my Facebook page, or if you're in Cricut for Australians, make sure you join as well. So next Thursday, I'll be live on behalf of Cricut for Australians at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern time, standard time. It's not daylight savings yet, wishful thinking. And I am still going to go along the line of labeling. And at the moment, with my craft room now, I've got, as you know, I was very fortunate to be gifted the Cricut Explore 3. I've now got a Cricut Maker 3. I already have my Maker. I already have my Air 2. I've got the Joy, and I am surrounded by cables. So I'm thinking of busting out the Cricut Joy and using some of the writable labels, yeah, getting myself a little bit organized in here. Because if you didn't know as well, the Cricut Maker 3 and the Cricut Maker 3 and the Explore 3, you can't interchange the power cords like you can on the other machines. So I just want to make sure that I'm using the right cables each and every time. But really appreciate you joining me. Thank you so much. Again, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do. And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. So have a wonderful weekend. See you guys soon. Take care. Bye.